Hey everyone, Miss Wilkins back. Okay, we're going to talk about tenor clef. Now you're probably saying, Miss Wilkins, what is this? What? I never heard of tenor clef before. Okay, well, if you are a cellist or a bassist and you want to play more advanced music, in other words, if the orchestra wants to play the good stuff, the harder music, sometimes cello and bass have to read what's called the tenor clef. Now, hopefully you watched my alto clef video because the tenor clef is related to the alto clef. So if you haven't, head on over back and take a look at that. But we're going to draw essentially an alto clef one line higher. Okay? I've moved it up a line. And so if you remember, the alto clef was called the what clef? The C clef. But now, C is our fourth line, not our third, as it was in alto clef. So now that we've moved C up, we're going to start to orient ourselves. And you're probably saying, well, Miss Wilkins, why do they do this? Why would you want to move the alto clef like this? Make sure I'm doing this right while I'm talking. Why would you want to do this? Well, we're going to add a ledger line. Because the higher up you get in the higher positions of the cello and of the bass, you have to add all these ledger lines, and that's sort of really uncomfortable to read. So what composers and notationists have done is they've just tried to move the notes down and move the clef up so that the notes lie on the staff where it's easier to read. So that's why, okay? We're going to go backwards. Let me just make sure I don't mess up because I'm talking. Okay. Now, there's going to be some differences for cello and bass, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around this to make sure I get this right. So I'm going to talk about cello right now, okay? Right here, did I do this right? Let me just make sure. Yes, okay. This is going to be your A string on the cello. I'm going to put cello here. Okay. And this is going to be your open D string. I'm also going to put cello here. Okay. So that's how you're going to orient yourself. So you're going to see that most of the notes that we want to access on the tenor clef are going to be on the A string up in positions, and so they're going to lie in this part of the musical staff. But sometimes, very rarely, you do see some notes down here, but really no lower than D, because if it goes any lower than this, they're going to put it into bass clef, okay? All right, so those are our strings for the cello. But bass, now here's what's interesting, is that they're gonna start here. Okay, that's gonna be the open D for the bass, and then this is going to be the open A string for the bass. So just a little bit of difference there because the bass is lower and they're trying to access those same note area of the fingerboard and pitches, but because the strings are different, they're different note names. So just know that the ones that I showed you, these are for cello, open strings, and these are for the open strings for the bass. Okay, I do have a few phrases to give you if you really, really want some. Don't feed ants cold eggplant. Don't feed ants cold eggplant. I don't know. And the spaces, eat good bread daily. Those are the spaces. So, again, my biggest thing is to just memorize each note individually, just like you would vocabulary. And the best way to do that are flashcards. So head on over to Quizlet, take a look at my tenor clef for the cello flashcards and my tenor clef for the bass flashcards, and just go slow and learn one string at a time, or a few. You can mix up the decks and then add, pick notes that you want and create your own decks. But that's really the best way to learn it. For me, I orient basically with cello in my mind, because cellists, I think, use this the most. But, there's a lot of bass music in tenor clef. But I orient myself with those bottom 3 lines. That's going to be the D and the A string. And then your C here is going to be second finger on the A string, and so forth. And then you would shift here, D, that would be 3rd position, okay? So that's how you're just going to orient yourself in this, and just remembering that C is your bass, your home base, okay? All right, so have fun with that. Remember, do some flashcards, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.